Wow, happy Monday. It's a glorious Monday. It's a glorious Monday. It really is. What's not glorious is this administration we have. The Biden administration's failed once again. It brings no joy when our president or administration fails, because when it fails big. This is Afghanistan 2.0. Now, the State Department is saying that most of these people are dual citizens. They didn't want help, which is exactly what they said about Afghanistan. But yet there were efforts from the private community or the private sector to help rescue Americans that were abandoned by choice by Joe Biden himself. But this is Sudan. This is Sudan. Now, I got two articles here. I don't think I'm going to do the BBC in full details. Let's see. It says here, this is from the DC Inquirer. Biden leaves thousands of Americans behind again in a war torn country. Kind of makes you wonder if Sudan would be peaceful if it wasn't for our interactions with them, or weren't doing the bidding of Saudi Arabia. Just to say this. Now, this starts out with no, this article may contain commentary reflections of the author's opinion. So this is a opinion piece. I mean, that's awfully nice of them to do that because it shows that there may be some biases in here. On Saturday, President Joe Biden, not just Joe Biden, but President Joe Biden ordered the evacuation of American embassies in Khartoum, Sudan, after a violent civil war erupted across a war-torn country. The closing of the embassy, however, will leave thousands of Americans behind, with the American administration admitting that there was no plans to evacuate the citizens. Today, on my order, so this is the President Biden's tweet. Today's on my order, United States military conducted an operation to extract U.S. government personnel from Khartoum in response to the situation in Sudan. Biden wrote on his Twitter, I'm grateful for the commitment of our embassy staff and the skill of our service members who brought them to safety. I mean, at least the military is still working. I'm receiving regular reports from my team on their ongoing work to assist Americans to Sudan. To the extent of possibility, he says, we're working closely with our allies and partners in this effort. This tragic violence in Sudan has already cost the lives of hundreds of innocent civilians and countless military personnel, too. The president explains it's unconscionable that we must, and it must be stopped. I don't know, have you tried promoting gun control in Sudan? We're temporarily suspending operation in U.S. Embassy in Sudan, but our commitment to the Sudanese people and the future they want is unending. Well, maybe they don't want our help. While employees in the State Department are swiftly evacuated by the U.S. military, the 16,000 American registered in the country are left behind to fend for themselves, as reported by Associated Press. I really should learn how to edit web pages. But absolutely imperative that U.S. citizens in Sudan make their own arrangements to stay safe in these difficult circumstances. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said on Friday, Americans should have no expectation that the U.S. government coordinated evacuations at this time. No expectations to keep Americans abroad as safe. Good thing to know that President Biden is all on it. What a disgrace. And we're expecting that going to remain the case, he added. Making matters worse for Americans in Sudan, the Khartoum Airport is closed. So the airport, so we couldn't even go in the security airport to give these people time to evacuate. Now I'm hearing that they're dual citizens and they chose to not take the offer. I don't know who's giving them that BS. Just, I mean, it's the same BS they gave to in Afghanistan. Along with bordering with neighboring Chad, leaving Americans with few options to leave the country due to uncertain security situations in actually it's Khartoum, and closure of the airports is not currently safe to undertake U.S. government coordination evacuation of private citizens or private U.S. citizens, the State Department said in a security alert. However, we remain dedicated to assisting U.S. citizens remaining in Sudan. How are you going to do that? Once again, Biden administration has abandoned Americans. The evacuation of the embassy in Sudan is a repeat of Afghanistan withdrawal. Once again, it shows that the administration is failing its foreign policies. Can't agree more. You can follow Sterling on Twitter here. Sterling_Mosley. Yeah, I don't think I am. I don't know. Does that pull up? Yeah, that pulls up. Of course, Sudan crisis. UK citizens abandoned. It's not just United States Americans. It's not just Americans. It's UK citizens abandoned as evacuation fails to materialize. So this is a multi-government or multiple country failure. UK is believed to have among the highest number of foreign citizens in Sudan, up to 4,000 according to, among the highest numbers, not the highest number, but among, gotcha. Reading Comprehension 101. Sudan has up to 4,000 according to British International Development Minister. For more than a week, they have been among the thousands confined to their homes, trapped by intense fighting between the Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces. Hundreds of foreign nationals have already been evacuated, but the UK has faced glowing criticism as many of the citizens who said they've been essentially abandoned. While the UK Foreign Office has said this weekend that it has managed to evacuate the embassy staff. So once again, another country taking care of government employees over the safety of their citizens abroad. Talk about some Bravo Sierra. Were they dual citizens and they declined to help? Let's see, while the UK Foreign Office said over the weekend they had managed to evacuate the embassy staff from the capital of Khartoum, it is feared that hundreds of its citizens remain trapped. In dozens of conversations with the BBC, those struck on the ground have been complained of poor communications from the Foreign Office Crisis Center. Small British military reconnaissance team in Sudan assesses evacuation options. The BBC understands. Oh, by the way, there's a ceasefire right now between the two groups. I think it's for 3 days. On Monday, the Foreign Office Minister Andrew Mitchell warned that the movement in Khartoum remains extremely dangerous and no evacuation option comes without grave risk of life. No kidding, you're going into a war-torn country. He says members of the French Force Special... Let me say that again. He says members of the French Special Forces was gravely ill after being shot while trying to evacuate French diplomats, but some UK citizens said that they waited too long for help. They just waited too long. Obviously, they didn't want to go because they waited too long. One British citizen, William, told the BBC that he received virtually no assistance from the government officials since the conflict began more than a week ago. He was forced to brave the street fighting and flee Khartoum after his situation became intolerable. We have absolutely nothing but nonsense from the government, he told Today programming on Monday. It's not even nonsense. We had nothing. The last communication was the government itself was doing nothing, and we had to take this option. His story mirrored over other British citizens who have watched in dismay as their international counterparts have been evacuated by other governments. We feel abandoned. Edinburgh native Phantom Osman, who was visiting his family when violence began, told the BBC from Khartoum. Hope I'm saying that name right. That city right. It's very traumatizing here, and the situation is very bad. It's getting worse. The clashes and fighting in here, and there are dead bodies everywhere, and everyone is trying to escape and flee the country, and you'll see the country is really getting into a civil war. Her husband, Amar Osman, said that their experience of trying to get advice from the Foreign Office has left him infuriated. He filled a location from the Foreign Office website, or from the website, and I received an email saying that they received my form, and he told Today's programming as sound of gunfire echoed nearby, but nothing else. The auto reply after you submit your form, and that's it. British nationals have tried, often in vain, to get instructions from the Foreign Office Crisis Center here in the embassy in Khartoum. A host of other nations have managed to evacuate their citizens. Monday, Indian Foreign Minister Dr. Samarhamaniman Shankar tweeted, more than 500 Indian citizens has reached the Port Sudan on the Red Sea, about 850 kilometers, about 528 miles, and a 13-hour drive east of Khartoum. 2 Air Force planes and a Navy vessel were on standby to evacuate the group. After long queues of United Nations vehicles and buses were seen leaving Khartoum on Sunday, we're heading east towards Port Sudan and carrying citizens from all over the world. One of the first nations to evacuate the citizens was Saudi Arabia. On Sunday, 91 of the kingdom's citizens and about 66 nationals and 12 of other friendly countries were flown to the Port Sudan to the city of Jeddah across the Red Sea. So pretty much it doesn't matter which country you are. If you're part of the NATO country, you're not really going to get the help. So it seems like Saudi Arabia knew what was coming. They got their people out. It seems like Americans, I guess the French are helping in to help get people out. But other than that, you're on your own. You're on your own. I mean, this is more testimony or anecdotal evidence from the BBC, which paints a not very pretty picture here there in the Middle East. And this is why I don't really go to the Middle East. Not that I have any desire to go to the Middle East, but if I were to go to the Middle East, any desire is now gone because I don't want to go there whatsoever. I don't think it's a nice place for Western societies to go because of Western interference through NATO now, but it used to be England, I guess part of the French and a few other legacy countries. After World War One, they divvy up the. Was it World War One? They divvy up the Middle Eastern. Definitely after World War Two, they also redrew the lines. And the Middle East just wants to be Middle East. There's nothing that we could do about that. But yet we tend to interfere, making the situation worse, propping up dictators and expecting them to be loyal to us. I don't know what to say other than that. It seems like if you're American or you're British, you're just SOL and you're on your own. But I really do do hope that this ceasefire lasts long enough for people to escape. And now this doesn't say it, but I heard on the radio that there's a 3-day ceasefire. I don't know. Leave a comment down below if you have any thoughts about this or any information for me to read up to figure out exactly what's going on. Because there's a lot of moving parts in the world that I can't focus my attention on everything. But it'd be interesting to know what's the history between the government and the rebel group. Was it the Rapid Support Forces? Because I'd be interested to know what's really going on there. With that being said, that is my video for today. Most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.